Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things, especially the ones that go boom. Today's question comes from a curious user, not a crime scene. Thanks for the suggestion, not a crime scene. You asked, how does a grenade work? Those little metal pineapples of chaos you see in movies, video games, and occasionally in history textbooks. But what's really going on inside one? How does pulling a tiny pin lead to an explosion just seconds later? Let's pop the safety pin off this topic and break it all down. Right here on Explaining Everything. All right, first, let's meet our star, the M67 fragmentation grenade. It's the kind you've probably seen the most. Round, handheld, and deeply not a toy. Inside the M67, you've got a steel shell filled with about 180 grams of high explosive, usually something called Composition B, which sounds like a failed boy band, but is actually a deadly mix of TNT and RDX. Around that explosive, a metal coil or pre-notched shell designed to shred into fragments when the grenade goes off. Those fragments are the part that ruin your day. The explosion itself isn't what gets you. It's the high-speed flying shrapnel, like metal confetti of doom. So, when people say a grenade explodes, what they mean is, it violently turns itself into a bunch of tiny, screaming pieces of metal. Let's clear this up right now. Pulling the pin doesn't make it go boom. Movies lie. Shocking, I know. The pin is just a safety. Think of it like a seatbelt that keeps you from accidentally starting the grenade's internal drama. What actually kicks things off is the spoon. Yes, that metal handle on the side that looks completely unimportant until it flies off like a startled pigeon. Once you pull the pin, the spoon is held in place only by your hand. The moment you let go, that's when the countdown begins. So yes, grenades are basically emotional toddlers. Everything's fine. Until you let go. Now, when the spoon pops off, it lets a spring-loaded striker swing around and hit a primer cap. The primer is a tiny component, but it's got one job: make fire, like a super intense birthday candle. That primer ignites a delay fuse, usually made of a special pyrotechnic composition that burns at a predictable rate, usually about 4 to 5 seconds. This gives the thrower time to yeet the grenade and run behind something solid, like a wall or maybe a very fast friend. Once the fuse burns down, it hits the main charge. Remember, Composition B? That explodes, sending those metal fragments flying out in all directions at absurd speeds, like a blender with trust issues. Fun fact, the fragments can travel up to 2,700 meters per second, which is very fast. We're talking faster than any reasonable excuse you can come up with when you forget someone's birthday. Why not 2 seconds? Why not 10? Why does the fuse give you just 4 seconds of oh no? The answer is balance. Too short, and you'll explode with it. Bad grenade etiquette. Too long, and your target might throw it back, which is also suboptimal. That 4 to 5 second window gives just enough time to throw the grenade a safe distance, but not enough time for anyone else to perform heroic volleyball moves. It's scientifically timed panic. Also, grenade timers aren't digital. They're burning fuses. So while they're mostly consistent, there's always a slight chance you get an overachiever or a lazy fuse. Either way, commit to the throw and don't dawdle. Here's a detail most movies skip. The grenade doesn't just puff away into dust. When the explosive goes off, the steel casing is shattered into dozens or even hundreds of small, jagged pieces. These pieces go flying in all directions. This is where the term fragmentation comes from. It's not about looking cool, it's about turning metal into high-speed razors. The explosion itself creates a pressure wave, sure, but the real danger is being anywhere in the effective radius, usually around 5 to 15 meters. Anything inside that zone is having a really bad day. And remember that spoon we mentioned earlier? That also gets launched. So technically, every part of the grenade ends up somewhere. You just don't want to be anywhere near any of those somewheres. So, there you have it. It's a tightly choreographed little chain reaction. Pull the pin, which is just the safety. Release the spoon. Ignite the primer. Light the fuse. Detonate the main charge and transform into a terrifying metal sunflower of destruction. All in about 5 seconds. It's compact, efficient, and deeply unfriendly. Next time you see someone in a movie dramatically pull a pin with their teeth and toss a grenade like it's a snowball, just remember, there's a whole mini Rube Goldberg machine of doom going on inside that thing. And that's what makes grenades both fascinating and the world's least cuddly pineapple. If you learned something new about those chaotic little spheres, don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, don't try this at home. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.